friends, it's Miss Becky with the Asheboro Public Library. This week on our art adventure, I'm going to share a little bit with you about a famous artist that you might have heard of. His name is Henrí Mattisse. Mr. Matisse and his friends were known as the Wild Beasts because they used such bright colors compared to the colors that were traditionally used by artists at that time. Toward the end of his life, Henrí Mattisse was not able to paint the way he used to because he was confined to a wheelchair. So he discovered a new art form that he called drawing with scissors, and he still used his bright colors, but he started cutting them out in shapes and putting them together. And this is a story about that called Henri's Scissors that I wanted to share with you. Henri's Scissors by Jeanette Winter. Read with permission by Beach Lane Books. In a small weaving town in France, a young boy named Henri Emile Benoit Matisse watched his mother paint china. He wanted to paint too. He drew pictures in the sand, and he drew pictures in his school books. When Henri was a young man, he drew pictures in his law books and on contracts, deeds, and wills. Henri was sick with appendicitis one winter. His mother gave him a box of paints, and he painted until he was well. He kept on painting and forgot about law and left his small town to be an artist in Paris. Henri painted pictures day after day and year after year. He was happy, and his paintings made people happy. Here's some of his paintings that he did with the bright colors. But when Matisse was an old man, he fell ill. So ill that he couldn't paint, and so ill that he couldn't sit up, and he could only lie in bed and sleep. His paintings floated by in his dreams. Matisse finally opened his eyes, and they were filled with sadness. Now he must remain in bed or use a wheelchair. Would he ever have the energy to paint again? When Matisse was strong enough to travel, he went to the seaside, and thinking that the sea air might help him get well. And before long, he sat up. A little bit later, he drew. Then one day, Matisse picked up a pair of scissors and cut out shapes from painted paper. He was drawing with scissors. A pair of scissors is a wonderful instrument. Matisse cut paper all day. My pleasure in cutting things out grows even greater. Why didn't I think of it earlier? His assistants painted paper for him all day. Guess he didn't already have like bright colored paper from the store like we can get. It seems to me that I'm in a second life, he said. Paper cutouts covered his walls. One evening, Matisse lay in his bed and drew faces of his grandchildren on the ceiling with a piece of chalk tied to a long pole. As he fell asleep, they looked down on him and saw his dreams. They saw the shapes that surrounded him in his sleep. And these shapes are really similar to some of the shapes that he liked to cut out. As time went on, Matisse cut bigger and bigger shapes. They filled his seaside room with color. He said, "You see, as I am obliged to remain often in bed, I have made a little garden all around me where I can walk. There are leaves and fruits and a bird." He liked to cut out these really squiggly organic shapes, which just means they don't have straight lines. I am deeply contented, happy. What do these shapes remind you of? Then one night, Matisse walked out into his paper garden, and the rainbow of shapes cradled the old artist and carried him into the heavens. Are some of the stars we see at night coming to us from Henri's scissors? Perhaps. And that is the end. So here are some of Matisse's paintings. You can see he liked to use bright, bold colors and patterns in his work. And then here he starts to do some paper cutouts. This one's called, let's see, Two Dancers. And then more dancers here. And here are some of his paper cutouts. Here's a really famous one called Jazz. Here's some more paper cutouts that he did, and do you see the birds and the fish? And a lot of his shapes to me look sort of like plants that grow under the sea. So it's fun to create art in Matisse's style. All you need is some bright colored paper, scissors, and glue or a glue stick, and you just cut out fun shapes until you like what you have, and then you glue them together. Oftentimes Matisse would put warm colors like red and orange and yellow on top of cool colors like blue and green, and he really liked the contrast that that would create. Or sometimes he would just make his works of art all cool colors like white on blue, or all warm colors. So I think I'm going to start by just cutting some squiggly shapes like Matisse did. And I think it's fun to just kind of go back and forth with the scissors and to create these squiggly shapes. And to me, they sort of remind me of like leaves or underwater plants. So I think they're really fun to cut out. So I had fun cutting out a lot of squiggly shapes, and I think I'm just going to arrange them on the page, how I like them. I feel like these two go together. And I cut out, they sort of reminded me of leaves blowing in the wind, and so I cut out these shapes too, because I thought they kind of reminded me of like the wind blowing. And it's also a warm color. And I also cut out a circle. Not sure where to put that. Maybe even right here. I don't know. And this was a leftover piece. You can even use the leftover pieces of paper that you cut out. This is one that was cut out after I cut the circle out, was left over, and I think I might use that one too. So you can just play with your shapes after you cut them out and then glue them down. So this orange piece of paper was left over after I cut out the swirly shapes on the other picture, and I liked it on top of this yellow, so I put it there. And then I thought, I'm going to cut out one of a blue star the way Matisse did. Sometimes he cut out star shapes too. So I cut out this big star, and kind of like the way it looks right there. And then I had leftover triangle shapes from cutting out the star, and so I thought I'd maybe use those too, and create another picture. This one has cool colors, cool color blue on top of the warm colors. So I like the way that that pops out like that. I hope you have fun drawing with scissors in your home or at the park with us tomorrow, weather permitting. If you'd like to join us tomorrow in the park at Bicentennial Park at 1 o'clock, please call the children's room at the number shown. Or if you just want to create some art at home and send it to us, we would love to see your work and put it in our gallery. Thanks for joining me in this art adventure. I'll see you next time on our Facebook or YouTube channel. Bye!